At first, right, you don't succeed. Try, and fail catastrophically all over again. That seems to be the official tactical doctrine currently being written by the shadowy sponsors of West Africa's mercenaries network. Okay, look at the geographic trajectory of what just unfolded over the weekend across the Sahelian corridor. They launched an aggressive multi-pronged push into Niger, hoping to crack the defensive perimeter of the regional alliance. Niger stood like a wall of solid granite and baited them right back into the desert. So, what did the coordinators do? They rerouted their remaining elements south into Burkina Faso, expecting to find a soft target. But as we recently documented, Captain Ibrahim Traore's forces were waiting in every single sector with defensive fire, sending hundreds of those stateless fighters straight into an early grave. Did they take the hint? Did they pack up their gear, return to their sponsors and say, listen, the Sahel is completely closed for business? Oh, no. In their infinite delusional wisdom, they regrouped on Saturday morning and launched a simultaneous coordinated assault straight into the heart of Mali. Welcome back to Power and Pulse. To every single conscious viewer tuning in from London to Lagos, from Bamako to New York, thank you for locking into these digital trenches with us. Your likes, your subscriptions, and your relentless commitment to truth are the fuel keeping authentic human-driven reporting alive on a platform dominated by corporate narratives, right? So when those coordinated columns hit multi-strategic locations across Mali on Saturday, aiming for military compounds, transit corridors, and strategic hubs, they thought they were catching the nation off guard. They thought they were staging a dramatic showcase for their foreign backers. Instead, they walked straight into a calculated counter-offensive that turned their multi-million-dollar operation into a total, unmitigated tactical disaster. To truly understand why the Malian armed forces, known globally as the FAMA, reacted with such devastating, ruthless precision on Saturday, you have to realize that this is no longer the fragmented, ill-equipped military of 10 years ago. Ever since the tragic loss of top defense leadership in recent high-level incidents, the entire security apparatus in Bamako underwent a complete radical transformation. The level of operational alertness across every single garrison, airbase, and outpost today isn't just high. It is absolutely at peak readiness. The sheer quantity of neutralized insurgents, burnt tactical trucks, and captured hardware scattered across those engagement zones represents an absolute harvest of tactical humiliation for the invaders. Those who survived were rounded up in mass surrender groups, sitting in the dust, wondering why their handlers lied to them about Malian defense capabilities. You genuinely have to sit back and laugh at the geopolitical stupidity of the foreign patrons bankrolling these stateless proxy groups. Now, imagine being a foreign intelligence coordinator, right? Sitting in a comfortable office in Western Europe or North America. You convince your treasury to approve tens of millions of dollars in clandestine funding. You buy satellite phones, thermal optics, night vision equipment, brand new desert pickup trucks, and heavy automatic weaponry. You feed these proxy fighters endless propaganda, promise them control over regional trade routes, and send them across the border into the Sahel. And within 48 hours of crossing that border, 400 of your fighters are wiped out in Burkina Faso, and the rest are completely dismantled in Mali, leaving behind millions of dollars worth of high-tech Western military hardware for the farmers to parade on state television. To the foreign taxpayers reading this, your governments are literally burning your hard-earned money in the sands of the Sahel. You are funding stateless mercenaries who are doing nothing more than serving as target practice for modern African air power. the Alliance of Sahel States, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, has established a joint strategic reality that the old colonial powers simply refuse to accept. These three nations have made it abundantly clear they will not surrender a single millimeter of their ancestral geography. Not one village, not one gold mine, not one desert trail. They are prepared to fund their own self-defense, deploy every single national resource, and fight this conflict until every concept of proxy insurgency in West Africa is permanently buried. Now, let's address the keyboard armchair generals, the critics sitting comfortably in air-conditioned apartments overseas, okay, who love to leave comments saying, oh, but why are the terrorists still able to attack? Why is Mali always playing defense instead of going on total offense? Listen to me very carefully, okay? Before you open your mouth to critique the operational strategy of General Assimi Goïta and the farmer, do yourself a huge favor, okay? Go sit down calmly, open a world atlas, and actually look at the physical map of Mali. Mali is not a small, dense European island nation where you can drive from one end to the other in 3 hours. Mali spans over 1.2 million square kilometers of vast, unforgiving terrain. So, to put that into actual perspective for you, okay, you can take the entire landmass of Nigeria, add the entire country of Ghana, drop in Cote d'Ivoire, pack in Benin, squeeze in Togo, and you would still have room left over inside the borders of Mali. It is an extraordinarily vast territory dominated by open desert, rugged mountain ranges, and sparse rural settlements, where hiding a small motorized column of insurgents is as easy as dropping a needle in an ocean. Now, think about the physical burden of defending a territory that massive. Think about what it takes for a military force operating within limited historical infrastructure left behind by decades of corrupt civilian regimes to maintain round-the-clock air surveillance, rapid reaction strike units, and border patrols across a million square kilometers. When you realize that a relatively small, highly dedicated army of brave young men and women is covering that immense geographic expanse, defending millions of civilians against heavily funded multinational insurgent networks, you don't critique them. You stand up and give them a standing ovation. The bravery being displayed on the front lines by Malian soldiers is nothing short of legendary. These young troops are not fighting for a paycheck from a foreign private contractor. They are not fighting for oil concessions or corporate stock options. They are fighting because they know that if they fall, their families, their culture, and their national heritage falls with them. So, this is why the civilian population in Bamako, in Ségou, in Sikasso, and across the northern territories continues to flood the streets in massive public demonstrations offering unconditional backing to the military government. Do you get? So, because for the first time since Mali gained its independence in 1960, the people see a leadership in the Koulouba Palace that is not bowing to instruction from Paris, Brussels, or Washington. They see a leadership that treats national integrity as an absolute non-negotiable duty. Let's look at the strategic partnership that made Saturday's counter-offensive victory possible, because this is where the geopolitical chessboard gets really interesting. When General Assimi Goïta's administration took the bold step to expel foreign military contingents and end decades of unequal defense agreements, Western media analysts predicted immediate collapse. They claimed that without foreign guidance, the Malian state would be overrun by armed groups within 6 months. Instead, Mali forged a concrete outcome-oriented defense partnership with the African Corps and restructured its operational coordinations under the unified umbrella of the Alliance of Sahel States. Look at how the AES task force operated over the weekend. Okay? Because When intelligence picked up suspicious insurgent movements near border corridors, radar and drone data was shared seamlessly across triad of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Air assets were pre-positioned to cut off retreat routes into neighboring territories. Combined artillery and ground forces moved with unified command authority, leaving zero operational gaps for the proxy groups to exploit. You see, that is what true regional self-reliance looks like in practice. It isn't endless summits at 5-star hotels in Geneva with foreign diplomats sipping champagne while issuing meaningless press releases. It is joint military command, shared intelligence networks, and immediate lethal joint operational designed to secure the land for its own people. Now, let us speak clearly and without reservation about the leadership of General Assimi Goïta. Since the beginning of the Sahelian crisis back in 2012, through years of failed international interventions, political instability, and foreign exploitation, Mali has never seen a government that demonstrates this level of unyielding resolve to defend its national home. Goïta and his colleagues in the military leadership have put everything on the line. They have survived economic blockades, diplomatic sanctions, state-sponsored media smear campaigns, and repeated assassination plots. Yet, they have refused to back down an inch. They have proven that when a government aligns its military power directly with the patriotic spirit of its people, no foreign-funded insurgency can ever break the national spirit. The defeat suffered by the attackers on Saturday is a loud message to every foreign capital still holding on to colonial fantasies. The Sahel is no longer your resource backyard, and its people will never again bow to external intimidation. So, huge respect to General Assimi Goïta, huge respect to the brave officers and soldiers of the FAMA, and huge respect to the personnel of the Africa Corps, and maximum solidarity to the citizens of the Alliance of the Sahel states who stand as an unbreakable shield behind their frontline defenders. The decisive repulse of these coordinated attacks across Mali over the weekend isn't just another news story. It is living proof that the tide of history has permanently turned across West Africa. The era where external forces could send armed proxies to destabilize a sovereign African state without facing immediate devastating military consequences is over. I am your host Marie, and thank you guys for your love, for all the likes, the share, and the comments. I will see you all in the very next deep dive.